Welcome back, guys.
Welcome
back to the number one podcast in Anthony, Texas. And Anthony,
The only one.
podcast in Anthony, Texas. So the drone stuff, that's something that's been really like in the back of my head right now.
Yeah.
Because that's my next step. I want to start diving into that. How hard was it to start off doing drones?
It was not super hard. I think nowadays drones are super available to people. Mm-hmm. I think what's hard is making that transition from a recreational flyer to a commercial pilot. I think that's where it's a little tough because you need to get your Part 107 license. And a lot of people don't know. I think I'm super big on informing people about like drone safety and drone laws. Like technically you can't fly for a business until you're licensed.
Yeah.
And if you do it, it's like illegal and the FAA can like come after you and the business you're working with.
No shit.
But yeah, that's a little tough. The Part 107 test is unnecessarily difficult.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you get like a certain amount of tries, or is it just like a one-time thing and then you gotta...
One-time thing, and then I think they pause you for 3 to 6 months and you get to retake it. And if you fail the second time, I think it's a longer gap in between. 50-question test, 3 hours. When you book it through the FAA website, they give you a testing center. But the course material, it's like if you're training to be a pilot. Yeah. Like it's a lot of weather patterns, like flight lingo. It's like airport
learning
traffic,
about lift and drag.
Yeah,
and
man,
all that
it's stuff that like as a drone pilot you don't remotely think about.
But that's the drone itself is something that's picked up by like radioactivity, ain't it?
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
as soon as you launch your drone, the FAA knows exactly who you are, where it is, where you're flying. They know everything about it. So if you cross any boundaries or do anything, they can fine you a significant amount.
It's a newer thing with remote ID. It's a new thing that they're implementing on each new drone, and that's basically like the way it was told to me. It's like your license plate for the drone. Like when you drive, you have to register the vehicle. You have a license plate. If you're doing anything maliciously, they like your whole info is in that license plate. With remote identification, when you take off, I do know that in the airport, I don't know specifics, but I do know that there's a screen, and when you take off, and if you're doing something that you're not supposed to, they can click on like your dot, and it pops up with all your info.
Damn. Holy shit!
And even to the point, I believe it's latitude and longitude of your controller. So if it's dire, they can go and like confront you.
They got like snipers waiting for you. Like red dots.
Well, if you're anywhere near the airport, one of my friends launched near the Subaru dealership on Airway, which is right next to the airport. It's no fly zone, and he launched his drone, and the FAA showed up in like 4 minutes to Subaru and was like, "What are you doing, man?"
That's crazy.
It's worse if you fly near the military base.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can.
Yeah, like the military police will. I've had friends like they detain them, and then they make them go through their files, and they'll delete stuff. Like they'll make them delete the card. Like in front of them.
That makes sense because secret shit.
Oh, for sure.
That is crazy. I didn't think it was that like intense.
It is nowadays.
It doesn't have to be, but I think again, like if you're flying correctly, and if like the hardest thing you'll do is that test, and then if you fly smart, like it's easy. But there's so many reckless drone flyers in town, man. It's tough, and I think the more of those that you have, the more difficult they're going to make flying for people.
Is that for like people generally just like barely picking it up, or just like puras pendejadas mamadas that they're doing?
I think it's
more of that.
More of that. I think it's like they know better. Like I've seen some stuff where like you can't fly over a stadium. Like FAA, like you need an operations over people permit to technically fly over a crowd, or even to fly at night. And you have a lot of people that aren't registered, aren't licensed, that they're doing that stuff, and it's
I think it's just a lack of knowledge too, because when you take the Part 107, you learn all this stuff and you know what to do and what not to do. A lot of people just go buy a drone and they're like, "Oh, I can just fly," because it's pretty easy to fly one of these drones. Like they're like crash proof nowadays. They have all these sensors that keep it stable and everything. But a lot of people just don't know. Like you can't fly over people. You can't fly at night. Like there's very strict rules on when and how you can fly. And it's just knowing those rules. That's why the Part 107 is actually a good thing. It helps you learn the ropes of like how to fly correctly.
Yeah.
Well, is there something that like when you buy your drone, is there documentation saying like you need to get licensed, or how do they communicate that?
So that's actually, as a flyer, you have to do your due diligence when you research, because you can fly like DJI is the biggest drone brand that they sell it on Best Buys. There's nothing in that paperwork telling you that you need to register your drone. But even as a recreational pilot, you have to pay $5 to have the drone registered, like, period. That's before you fly.
Yeah, it's called a trust certificate.
Yeah, a trust certificate, yeah. And it's just $5, and I think it's like a 10-minute like mini course that they take you through for like common knowledge. But that's not advertised. So again, like, it's not like that's information that's not like available to like everybody. That I think should be, because yeah, man. Like,
If they're gonna be so strict on it, they should enforce it in
Yeah.
some way, no?
Yeah, because what if you're like a dad buying your kid a drone for Christmas because he wants one? And then-
yeah. And you happen to live by the airport and you have no idea about
Yeah.
these rules, you know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's not right to them, you know, so.
you get a freaking SWAT raid. You're like,
Custom issues.
Christmas is over.